Hi everyone, so happy to be with you today. And you see, I have my big pumpkin with me, but he's missing a few parts. So, every time before we start cooking, we have to do a first batch. So, we're going to cook about the pumpkin today. And I have my sous chef today, Kisha. She's from Queen's College also. And we're going to cook a lot of things. We're going to make a frosting. We're going to make a caramel sauce that Kisha started like 2 weeks ago on Cooking with Kiki. But we're going to make another one. And we're going to add a local flavor in it. We're going to use bourbon. We're going to talk about our pumpkin, and this is a wonderful season. We have Halloween, carving our pumpkin, and it can be part of your decor, but it's way better to use it in your cooking because it's so full of vitamins, vitamin A, vitamin C, and overall, everything in the pumpkin or the squash family are edibles, like the leaves, and we're going to use the seeds today also. We're going to do some spice, roasted seeds. But first, we're going to use pumpkin puree. But what are we going to do, Kisha, today?
Pumpkin bread.
Okay, we're going to do pumpkin bread. But first, to do the pumpkin bread, we need pumpkin puree. And it's easy to buy it from the store in a can. But when you have a pumpkin like that, it's better to do it because when you roast it, and it can stay in the freezer for up to 3 months. And it's so easy to do. So let's start doing that. I'm going to show. Okay, you have to cut the pumpkin and remove the membranes and the seeds. Very, very, very easy to do. Tisha, can you pass me that casserole, please? And when you roast the seeds, sometimes some recipes call to just put some oil in it and the spices and roast them for 30 to 35 minutes. But what I realized also, if you pre-boil them in salty water, you can put the hot water now. It's way better. And it roast, the flavors are better, and you have a nice golden color. Yes, we're going to put some more here. Put it half with that one. And also, for something that's only cost 89 to 98 cents per pound, you can do so many recipes with only one pumpkin. I bought that one for $5.25, something like that. And I'm going to do 2 loaves of bread pumpkin. We're going to roast the seeds, and you're going to have the puree to do some soups. Let me put more in it so you'll have a nice batch. And with the pumpkin puree, also you can do a face mask.
I love a good face mask.
Yes, it's like for half a cup of the pumpkin puree, you do like an egg, some honey, 1 tablespoon of milk, and you leave it on your face for like 20 minutes.
Or bake it because
we can say that now. You can put that on high here. Yeah, going to put my hand. And we're going to put that one here. And like I said, for 20 minutes, and then you rinse it with water, warm water. We're going to put that in the oven. We're going to put our oven at 400 degrees, and you will take like 30 to 45 minutes to have really a nice roast. Yes, a nice roast pumpkin. And for our seed, we should put some salt, like 2 tablespoons. We're going to use 2 tablespoons. You can use that spoon. It's supposed to be salty, so you have all the flavors in that.
I usually just just pour soda and so spare talking stuff.
You know what? You have too much salt on it. Not going to do that one. Excuse me. After like 35 minutes, you will have your pumpkin like that. And it will be very easy to peel, you see? And now we're going to start. Okay, you can just leave. And when we have, we will leave it to boil for like 10 minutes and it will be ready to go to the oven. Okay, we're going to start our pumpkin bread. And that, you see? For pastry, it's an exact science. You can just not freestyle on it. So you have to, yes, you have to respect whatever amount of the ingredient we give you. So this is really a 3/4 cup of the pumpkin puree.
So you started your culinary career as a pastry chef, right?
Yes, I started doing dessert first, but then I like to create, I like to innovate. So I prefer really.
So that's why you switched over to
Exactly.
general.
Yes. Okay, and while we are doing that, we're going to do the caramel also because we want to save time.
Multitasking.
It will take some time. So for the caramel, we'll need a cup of white sugar and a 3/4 of a cup of water. We're going to mix it, and we're not going to touch it until it reaches like a nice amber color. Going to leave it to cook. Okay, we're going to come back to our pumpkin. It's here. And now we're going to mix all the dry ingredients. You can do that. We can sift the flour also. Take the, the corner.
Oh, here she is.
Yes. And like I say, when you're cooking, when you're baking, it's very important to do your mise en place. It means that everything is near you, very reachable, so you can go fast and quick and do not lose any missing ingredient or time.
So don't do the recipe. Don't cook as you read the recipe. Always read the recipe first, see what you need, and have your things ready.
Okay, we can go faster. Okay, that way, but not too fast. Have to reach the bowl. Very nice. Yes, it's good. It's good. That's why we wear aprons. And for that, we're not going to use baking powder. We're going to use baking soda. And it's really like a little goes a long way, 1 teaspoon. And now you can add the sugar, Kiki. How much was that for the sugar? It's on the, yes, a cup for a teaspoon of baking soda. So we basically mixing all our dry ingredients. And we're going to add also some light brown sugar. And it's half a cup here. Half a cup of that.
Why are you adding the 2 types of sugar?
It helps we want the flavor of the brown one, and it will help also with the color we want to achieve for that. That recipe called also for 2 tablespoons of pumpkin spice. And you know, pumpkin spice, it's all about nutmeg, cinnamon, and what else is there? Cloves, or allspice. So you're going to just put until you reach that 2 tablespoons of it. It's gonna smell so good also. Okay, that's 1. We're going to have 2 eggs. You can take one of the bowl here and lower that a little bit. Yes. And you can crack the 2 eggs that should be really well beaten. I'm continuing with my spices here. 2 tablespoons of pumpkin spice. Like we just said, it's again allspice, cinnamon, cloves, and nutmeg. Going to mix it, and we're going to transfer that apparel, that's the name we give to our wet ingredient. And for the wet ingredient, we're gonna have half a cup of oil. We're going to mix, remember, with our pumpkin puree. See, our sugar, it takes time, it's still cooking. We don't stir, we let it here. We're going to add a 1/4 cup of water. We're going to add also like a teaspoon of vanilla extract. Okay, really, okay. The eggs is very nice. You're going to add the eggs for me here. Okay, now we're going to add our dry ingredient. We're going to mix it really well. Okay. You can mix it really well. We're not going to over mix it, but we're going to mix it. We're going to strain our, yes, it's 10 minutes. I'm going to strain the seeds. You can continue to mix it behind you.
Mixing.
Yes, you can continue to mix.
Which I'm doing.
Okay. And now we're going to grease our pan. Let me see. We shouldn't have any lump. So sometimes when you mix it, you just press the border of the bowl.
Mm-hmm.
And that way you make sure that you don't have any pocket of flour or anything.
She usually does this when I start cooking too. She just goes over. She's like, no, this is the better way to do it.
Okay, you can do it like 1 more minute and then.
1 more minute. This is the onward.
More. The ingredients from small. You have to grease your pan very well so it's cooked evenly. Yes, very nice. It's good. Perfect. It's very good, Kiki. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to put some here. And that will cook in the oven for at least 1 hour.
I always overfill my pan. So how much do you suggest filling the pans up for?
At least 3/4 of the pan is very good. It's a very nice amount because you have the baking soda with the baking powder.
Mm-hmm.
Will make them rise. So we will do that. So what we're going to do also, it's holiday season, and I know that you love to entertain. And if you have those mini cakes,
Mm-hmm.
it's very nice, and we'll use that with our caramel. You can continue to put it with our caramel sauce. We put that, excuse me, behind you. And while Tisha is doing that, I'm going to show you for the pumpkin seeds. They are a very, very good for snacks. You can put them on top of soups also.
Oh, I also had a question for the batter. A lot of people are going with a more plant-based type of diet these days. So
Okay.
if you wanted to make this recipe plant-based friendly because you're entertaining or because you want to have a plant-based diet yourself, how would you substitute the eggs out?
Oh, okay, that's very easy. If any recipe called for 1 or 2 eggs, it's better to use applesauce. It's like half a cup of applesauce can replace 2 eggs. But if it's 3 eggs, I really recommend to use sometimes you can use the tapioca starch or something else. Because when a recipe calls for eggs, it's more about we want to keep the structure of the recipe.
Mhm.
So that's why if you need 3 eggs for a recipe, it's better to not go with the applesauce because any food puree when you add it,
It's a water.
yes, that's a lot of water, so you won't achieve really what you want. But if it's only 2 eggs, yes, we can go with the applesauce. And remember, we just use like the spices
Mhm.
for the pumpkin spices, and they will go well with exactly. Because when you do apple pie, it's very nice to have some nice spices in it. And it's basically the same spices, nutmeg, cinnamon, and the house will smell
Like
like
Christmas.
yes, the holidays. One of the best period of the year. I know we had a difficult one, and our prayers go with anyone that may have lost someone. But I think the best way to help more people is to have more empathy. And please, the one of the easiest way to help them is to wear your mask, so we can get over that. So for our roasted, oh, nice job, Kiki. For our roasted seeds, we're going to put some oil, not much, like a tablespoon. We're going to always season your food. Going to add some salt and pepper, or you can have any seasoning that you like. And for another touch of healthy cooking, I will use a teaspoon of moringa powder. So we will mix that. I think I'm gonna add more salt to that.
I made these one time with jerk seasoning. It was yum.
Yes, any seasoning that you like. Excuse me, Andrea, I'm
It
gonna
makes
put
it salty and sweet.
yes.
And they're really good in salads.
Okay, I'm gonna switch places with you so I can continue with the sauce.
Sure.
And why we will do the frosting also is not really, I'm going to show you when I say we want to achieve an amber color, it's still white. So we're going to leave that sauce alone and we will start with our frosting very soon. We will clean a little bit because the edges they will stick when it cooks. It will be very nice. And bite size for people watching their diet, if you entertain at home and you give bite size dessert, they're more likely to have it. Very nice. Going to put it, maybe switch that one behind you. A little bit. Ready? So you have enough space. Okay. We'll start our frosting as soon as Kiki is done. Yeah. One more. Yeah. That one. Perfect.
couple. Yeah. So a little bit overdosed, but you know.
Yeah,
do
it's
it
good.
again.
You have a wet towel next to you, so you can just clean it and put it in the oven. And as always, you will have the recipe and the picture of the recipes after our live, because it's the exact picture of that recipe of the day that we will use. We're going to use our frosting, and we're going to add a touch of the Caribbean in our frosting. We're going to use passion fruit. C'est fruit de la passion. It's fruit de la passion in French, and in Creole we always say grenadilla. So basically, we're going to use our passion fruit concentrate juice for that. We're going to use powdered sugar, and we're going to use, it's a buttercream, it's for sure. We're going to use 1 cup of butter. Sometimes, yes, we're going to say how much, because you have to put the butter in a cup to measure it. But you know, there's an easy way. Maybe you haven't noticed. Sometimes, and in most of the time, you will have your stick of butter, and if you look alongside, there's measurement on it. So basically, if a recipe calls for 1 tablespoon, so you have a mark here. Let me show you. You have a mark here that says 1 tablespoon, and if it calls for a cup, it's 16 tablespoons. So we will need 2, but we don't have a recipe, so it will be 8 tablespoons. That will be like half a cup of butter. And your butter should be at room temperature. That way, you can really work that out. That's the word we use for that recipe. Okay, you're going to use it. Okay. If you have a mixer, it's easier. But if you put a mixer on now, guys, the noise that will make, so we're going to just work it by hand.
When she says we, she means
Yes, that's why we have sous chefs. We love them, but they work hard. Okay, our caramel is cooking. It's basically the sugar and the water at this point. I'm going to add a bit of the powdered sugar. Yeah, remember that's why we have aprons. And I want the orange color, so we're going to do half a drop of yellow food coloring, okay, and half a drop of red food coloring, just that. Because remember, the passion fruit also have some color in it, so that will help boost the color that we get from that. You know what we used to do sometimes? It's like when you do cake by hand, you just, yeah.
why did you make me struggle when you could do that?
Okay, but you have to have like a wet towel you put underneath the bowl. And that way you have the difference.
I feel bamboozled.
No, that's the way they teach you. You start swirling and you say, oh, there's an easy way to do that. Okay, we're going to do add the rest of the, okay, I'm looking at my caramel which is brown. Yeah, we're going to add like a tablespoon at a time of, this is a teaspoon, so 2 teaspoons equals 1 tablespoon of that. But we need 3 tablespoons. Okay. I'm looking at my caramel at the same time.
You want to switch it burners? That one should be hot, right?
No, it's good. We're just waiting for the color. That's why we started
It's early.
yeah early. So oh, it's nice, right? Love the color. We can add more. Okay. Already was it, so it's it's good. We're just adding it like a bit at a time. I love the color. I'm going to show them.
Oh, I want to just drink this.
Smells so good.
Oh, it smells so good. Passion fruit is like passion fruit and citron. How do you say citron? Lime juice.
Yes.
My favorite. I like citrusy juices.
Okay, we can add more. Okay. That will be about it. Yes. Let me give it to you when it's very soft. So
I like the way you think, Mama.
So continue to mix it.
That's so cute.
Yes, it is.
You didn't see that.
I did. Oh my
Oh,
God.
that is so good. See, I learned. Ah,
Yeah.
it's also done, but I learned.
Okay. And now to our caramel off heat, we're going to add. We're going to use cream, heavy cream.
Do you want me to put this in the fridge?
Oh no.
Okay.
It's very good like that. You can show them the color that we want to achieve.
Okay. I shall be showing you the color. So, this nice creamsicle orange. You see, I told you to switch it, Brenner.
Yeah,
Haha.
that one is way better, faster. I have to turn that off anyway. And off, we're not going to turn it off completely. Okay. Going to add it. Can you just continue to stir?
Oh, you know, okay, that's my job.
Thank you.
I'm here to stay.
And we're going to talk about the bouillon that we'll be using. You know, every time that we cook, we always use local product. And I came across that they had a fair in front of Brooklyn Museum, and they had that company was selling. I had a taste of it, and I think it will be very nice to add to our caramel. And they do private events also. They upstate, and we'll post some picture of that also. And I will do more cooking with it. And I think a nice steak sauce will be very good, or any cream sauce for roasted vegetables with a touch of that bourbon will be very nice. Exactly. We're going to add that to for 1 more minute, Kiki, and let me add a dash of 1 tablespoon really of that. And we will have our caramel sauce. We need to clean a little bit. And we're going to use our frosting now. We can turn it off. We can leave it because it's supposed to be really cool to have it. And that will be the final result for the caramel. Like you always know, we should make a first batch to that's our bread, pumpkin bread, and we're going to add our frosting. Yes, it's very nice. And you can put some of the caramel sauce in a cup, half a cup here.
Mhm.
Okay, let me give you that so we can put it alongside with that. Hold on, let me remove. Thank you. Okay. Nothing fancy for the decor. we're going to just swirl. And to add another touch, because this is a really nutritious but delicious dessert, you can have for the holidays as a side. Oh, I don't know if you notice also, from when we started doing the lives, you guys have recipes to do a nice Thanksgiving dinner. Last week we did the turkey. We did some tostones with the grilled salsa. Remember, we have the rice with the pumpkin in it and the nuts. And now we're going to use some nuts again, because every time you add nuts to any foods, it really double the amount of protein, of good vitamins that you find from any food. So we're going to top our pumpkin bread with those walnuts, and they are you can roast them if you want again. But sometimes when you do that, they tend to be softer on the side. So I don't really like it. So it's better to use them really the way you bought them. Really roast them first. Wow. Yes, it's very nice. You're going to put it on the side.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit of cleanup. And we're going to show you. Kisha, you can show the caramel. You don't need to add more. It's good. Okay, but I'm going to show you really what we have today. Kisha is showing you the caramel, and I will show you the.
Ooh. Wait, where's the camera? Oh, here she is. Ooh.
It's very nice. And this is our dessert for the day.
Isn't it great?
Okay, so guys, we had a great time with you today in the kitchen. I'm saying thank you for Kisha for helping me, because we had a lot of small components that we had to work on. And we will post also on all the social media channel for all the recipes for today. But I thank Dwayne. Thank you again, Dwayne, for sending those recipes out. And thank you, thank you, thank you. We are grateful. We are thankful. So see you in a few days for, I think that will be before Thanksgiving, for another recipe. Bye. It's very nice. Now we should do, I will